samasta sukino bhavantu loka samasta sukino bhavantu loka samasta sukino bhavantu.
And last week we worked with air principle, which traditionally has been called sattva guna, where on a molecular level your body was in communion with being. And sattva is the force of equilibrium, and it's a point in the breath. Everything is enlivened through the breath, breathed into creation and sustained by the breath. It's a point in the cycle of the breath where the field comes into communion with its nucleus in a higher dimension of being. And Sattva guna is the feedback mechanism on every level of wholeness in the body as an energy field, where the body takes in its feedback to self-correct. So every atom, every molecule, every cell, and in the macrocosm, the same intelligence is our cognizance, where we said, oh, I really blew that. I'm going to do it differently next time. Or that was really wonderful. I'm really glad I'm doing this way. Or wow, this was really brought this up. Here's what I need to do to let go of it. It's the same feedback mechanism in the atom, in the molecule, the cell, the same cognizance, trying to self-correct as it interacts with its environment. And that we call sattva guna, because we're touched so deeply by life. You know, it arises from the very heart of our being. And then we also work with the water principle, tamas guna, which is where life crystallizes into this amazing form. Tamas means to perish, to crystallize into this skeleton and this shell for spirit, which we call the body. And those are the fundamental physiological and psychological process which underlie the body, both in the physical expression and the psychological expression of the chakras, as consciousness steps down in the 7 planes to manifest this form. And then the third basic principle in this trinity of principles is the fire principle. And fire, again, we're talking here about the 3 gunas, the 3 qualities of vibration. And fire is creativity. Fire is transformational energy. Fire is joy and personal power. Fire is passion and vitality. And fire predominates in all of the red tissue of the body, all of the muscles and all of the organs that build the body and express our personal power and creativity and vitality.
You said that build the fire.
That build the body and sustain the body.
Okay.
And that like all of these organs are predominantly red, that are sustaining the body because they're transforming energy. Fire is about is directed energy. The word for fire in Sanskrit is tejas. And tejas means razor sharp. And what it's pointing to is how razor sharp the consciousness is in every atom and molecule and cell, and in every act that allows the body to project into manifestation. Incredible, incredible if you think about what's going on in this body, that we're able to be and do what we do. And it says it, tejas, the razor sharpness of this omnipresent divine intelligence, which is sustaining every atom and molecule and cell of the body. So the fire principle is, energy is always a field of feedback, a field of intelligence, moving from a neutral source into a fiery, positive expression, and then crystallizing into form, and then the energy being released at the negative pole, neutral, positive, and negative. So fire is the positive. So if we look at that plus sign, we're seeing spirit to matter, this part, and then radiance in that. And that's what we see in the plus sign. That's actually an archetypal energy pattern, not just a arbitrary sign, arbitrary carrier meeting. And fire has its center 2 to 3 finger widths below the navel. We call this the umbilical center or the fire center. Fire has its center between the 2nd and 3rd lumbar vertebrae behind the sacrum. And fire has its center in the solar plexus, where both the fire of the earth from below, from the 2nd chakra, and the fire from above, the fire, solar power, dance together as vitality and joy and personal power. Fire is embodied in the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is where energy moves into the musculature for fight or flight or for creativity. It's where fire is, again, outgoing energy, and the sympathetic nervous system is either putting energy into the musculature for safety, or putting energy into the musculature for creativity and personal power. Fire is a centrifugal energy, radiating outward, expansion, heat, solar, and it predominates in the masculine, in the right side of the body, compared with water, which is a lunar, a centripetal, a gathering, a cooling, a feminine left side. So fire is centrifugal, expansive, hot, right side. Think of it, and the more masculine you are, the more you embody these qualities, or the more feminine you are, the more you embody the others. So fire rules vitality, and fire rules the conscious mind. Fire, again, is directed energy, so it's all the plans, all the agendas, all the desires that we have listed there. Air, superconscious mind, gratefulness, the connection to source, and water, the subconscious mind, unconscious and instinctual forces, the fear or the desire that run us from the subconscious. Now, in polarity therapy, we work with fire in 3 ways, and the session I'm going to do here today will embody these 3 ways. First, we're talking about the fire center, and that's centered at the umbilicus, and it's a spiraling from that fire center, and many of you will feel that. So we're going to be pumping energy from that fire energy center to the 3rd eye. We started working with it last week, and now we're actually going to be pumping energy to the 3rd eye and to the heels from that center of our vitality, center from our personal power. Now, the sympathetic nervous system, which is the embodiment of fire, okay, in the macrocosm of the body, has its negative field at the Achilles tendon, at the heels. And the heels are a powerful, powerful place for both releasing trauma and also for pumping vitality into the body. Like we've been doing this here as a way of, okay, here, not quite in the heels, but in the pelvic reflexes for pumping vitality. To do the windshield washers, windshield wipers, as a way of scattering stagnant energy. It's great for just releasing nervous energy. Okay. Yeah. And for any of you that don't know, you can go on YouTube and do a search for energy exercises. And I have a really nice series of energy exercises that you can do in the morning that are all joint mobilization that'll just really help you to feel wonderful in your body. And they only take about 15 or 20 minutes to do.
About 22 minutes.
22
and the
minutes.
The model's fabulous too. He's cute.
22 minutes. And it's the best 22 minutes you can spend. Because again, we live in this ocean of life. It's ultrasonic, and that ocean steps down through the joints. And if you can get that mobility in your joints and the fluidity of your joints, there's a whole level of subtle energy that just dances through your body.
Wow.
So, most other systems take a lot more time, and this is totally based on joint mobilization and breath.
I found myself doing these exercises this weekend.
Great.
Both mornings.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
When we were in Mexico, I led people in them every day. Like,
Great.
okay, come on, let's go with Bruce here. And we did them. It was fabulous.
So we're talking about this fire. Okay. But for our purposes, this fire center is 2 finger widths below the navel. A second level that we work with fire is the fire triad. And this is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And these are archetypal energy patterns. They're not symbols, arbitrary carriers of meaning. So Aries is where universal creative energy enters at the third eye and then radiates up as the 2 lobes of the brain that personify the mental plane. So this is the seed of energy, becomes the vision of idea. And vision is the seed of our lives, and vision is the seed of our lives. Do you hear there where the idea is the seed of what happens on the lower fields of what is actually manifest. So there's the fire of vision here at the third eye, radiates up at the 2 lobes of the brain, and the brain is our microcosm of the mental plane. Do you get that? Where, again, we're made of wholeness, and in this body, we embody the universe. So here's universal creative energy. Here's what steps down at the third eye into the 2 lobes of the brain, which are a microcosm of the mental plane. So this is Aries as the fire of vision, an archetypal energy pattern. Then we have Leo at the solar plexus, and can you see how this diaphragm, liver and diaphragm, are that energy field, a unique energy field which involves Leo, which is about personal power and self-expression and about your embodiment of you. And your fire is, again, your radiance, your safety to be radiantly you, your safety to embody, to take your space, to claim your space. And then the negative field of fire is where we take this fire of personal power and we express it through the thighs against the resistance of the earth and the resistance of the world. So here's the navel, and here are these 2 radiations of fire going down the thighs against the cross here, which symbolizes the meeting of heaven and earth. So here's the earth. And so this is, again, an archetypal energy pattern showing how we're able to take this radiance and express it in the earth. It's not a symbol, but these are all the archetypal energy patterns that underlie the body. So we're going to be doing a Leo Sagittarius rock to take this energy of the neutral field and bring it into the negative field. Okay. So we're going to be working with this by pumping vitality. We're going to be working with this with a Leo Sagittarius rock. And then we're also going to be working with the fire principle. So this is the fire triad, fire element triad, the fire center, and the fire principle. And here we're talking about the brow center, where universal creative energy enters the body. And that is a field, again, the body has its core ether, and then that radiates air, fire, water, earth. This one energy breathes through the body, and as it gets farther from the core, from the nucleus, it steps down. So ether becomes air, becomes fire, becomes water, becomes earth, and it's drawn back to earth, water, fire, air, ether. So there's one energy that as the field is farther from the nucleus, in quantum fashion, it drops from light to air to steam to ice. Do you hear that? So earth is the boundary, water is the fluid medium for life, fire is the transformational energy, air is the intelligent feedback mechanism in the overall space of ether. So this one energy, there's just one energy, and as the field that it radiates is farther from its source. So here's this one energy, and at the source it's space, it's ether, unobstructed motion. And as the energy radiates out, it drops in vibration, becomes air, radiates a little farther from the source, becomes more material, more dense, becomes fire, radiates farther from the source, becomes even more dense, becomes water, and then becomes earth, the boundary. So if we look at this field, we see ether, air, fire, water, earth. So here we're working with fire, which is the field. The sense that is ruled by fire are the eyes. So we're interested in this field as eyes width from the center. And it crosses over at the navel. And air stimulates fire. I want action, I ask you to do it. I want to start a fire, I blow on it, or I wave on it. In flames, the air stimulates fire. So the negative field reflex to the fire principle is the air toe, and the neutral field is the air.
Okay, say that one more time. So the
negative field is the air toe, and the neutral field is the air principle. So in 1975, I came back from India, 110 pounds of parasites.
Oh, babe.
2.5 years living out of a backpack, searching for God outside of myself. And I went to see this polarity practitioner, Dr. Jarvis, down in Pacific Grove, and he pinched my air toes so hard that I remember it now, 50 years later, 40 years later. And so we're going to do that today. We're going to pinch the air toes tomasically to stimulate the fire principle. So these are the techniques that we're working with today. Again, now when we're talking about the fire principle, the fire principle is also the key. You hear what a key is? A key is like opens a door to take you into a building. The fire principle is the key to opening up the whole left side of the body. The sense that's ruled by fire is the eye. So if you look at the client's left eye is much smaller, that's because they're contracting and they're having a hard time handling the fire, the energy that's directed around them. They're having a hard time with their environment. And the key to opening up that fire is what we call the duodenum reflex. Duodenum is a sphincter, a valve at the bottom of the stomach. And before the food hits the duodenum, you can puke it out if it's toxic. And a duodenal ulcer is where you're irritated by, in Ayurveda, everything is food, everything is energy, everything is food. The duodenal ulcer is where you're saying, my environment's toxic, and it's just, I'm trying to assimilate it, but it's just killing me. So the duodenum is the key to your receptivity and opening the left side of the body. So we have we're going to do a contact here to open up the left side of the body. And the same way, the gallbladder, so here's the duodenum reflex, where the diaphragm, fire principle hits the diaphragm. And then this is the gallbladder reflex. And the gallbladder is called the decision maker, where the air of your feelings becomes fire action, where the gallbladder feeds the liver, where the air of an impulse becomes the fire of action and expression. Do you hear that? So the gallbladder is the decision maker that juices the liver to act. So working this gallbladder reflex, if you have like someone in your life that's indecisive, or you need them to make a decision, or they're having a hard time making a decision, working this will help them to make that decision. In the same way, working this fire principle can also lead to releasing repressed anger, envy, jealousy, bitterness can be released. So here we have the key to opening up the right side of the body. If that right eye is Smaller, that means the client is having a hard time with their self-expression. They don't feel safe to be in their power and their self-expression. And doing this session we're doing today with a focus on the right side of the body can return a client's vitality and empower them to creativity. So if for some reason they're feeling frustrated or afraid in their life, or they have something coming up where they need to be in their power, need to be in their creativity or self-expression, this is excellent work for that. So this is wonderful work for anyone who's felt deficient, low energy, anyone feel like their energy's been repressed, that they want to be more alive, more vital, more powerful, more joyous, more creative. It's excellent for excess coldness, contraction, fear.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino